What's up guys, my name's Captain Dave and welcome back to the Captain's Quarters, the video in which I go through and answer all of your questions and comments from last week's video. And to start this thing off, I have got quite a happy announcement, and that is I have now officially 100% completed Mass Effect 3. All that is left for me to do is to edit and upload those videos, and we have 100% complete Mass Effect 3 walkthrough done and dusted and ready for you guys. And with that being said, that means with that out the way, I can now begin, and I actually have already begun recording Batman Arkham Origins. So I'd say within the next week, possibly even sooner, you'll begin to see episode 1 of Arkham Origins. So good news all around. Mass Effect 3 is done and dusted and ready to upload, and you will very soon be seeing Arkham Origins. So what a great way to start off the show, eh? What a great way. But with that being said, let's jump right into this with a very fittingly named Arkham News Base asked me, "Hello Dave, do you think Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is getting announced soon?" No, I do not. And in all honesty, I don't think they're ever going to make an Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Really hope they do, but I very much doubt they are. Unless you know something that I don't. I mean, you said getting announced soon, so maybe you know it's in the works and just hasn't been announced. I don't know. I personally don't think they're ever going to make one. That's why, as far as I'm concerned, I say Lego Marvel Superheroes is our only attempt at ever getting a Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. You also asked, and am thinking of buying Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1, good idea or not? And third, is the character DLC for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, is it worth buying? MUA 1, I'd say definitely it's a good idea. The graphics aren't what you'd expect from nowadays stuff, but obviously it's a very old game. But the story is very long, so you're definitely getting enough bang for your buck when it comes to gameplay. It lasts for a very long time. You get to go through many different parts of the Marvel universe. So I'd say it's worth it if you just want to have a nice good game to play. I mean, you've seen I've got a walkthrough of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 up on the channel, and I mean, Ultimate Alliance 1 I think went through about 50 parts, whereas Ultimate Alliance 2 was 20, if that. I can't remember off the top of my head. And with regards to the character DLC for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, this is something I don't know how it stands recently, but it was definitely worth buying. I loved all the DLC, and I used the characters in my walkthrough, and it was fantastic. But all I know is from what people have told me, and for a very long time people have said that they haven't been able to download the character DLC for Mass Effect 2, for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, because it's just no longer available. And for those who say they can download it, or they already have downloaded it, they say it doesn't work anymore. Because when they made Marvel vs. Capcom, they had to sell the rights to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, which means the DLC was no longer applicable anymore. So yes, it's very much worth buying, but whether you can, and if you do, will it work, I don't know. You'd probably have to read up on it before you spend your money on anything like that. But back when it worked, yes, it was great. It was fantastic. I loved every bit of it. And also said, by the way, looking forward to the Origins walkthrough. Well, you're gonna get to see it very soon, hopefully. Blast Eye Studios said, "Hey Dave, if you could change anything in the Mass Effect universe / story, what would you change? Also, have you read any of the Mass Effect books?" With regards to the Mass Effect books, no I haven't, but I've been, every time I pop inside the comic shop I always have a little look, and I'm very tempted to buy them, but then of course I remember I have no money and can't buy anything even if I wanted to, so if I had the money, yeah, I'd probably lap them up in a heartbeat. I think my fanboy stage now has reached so high I would buy anything Mass Effect related, even if it was just some figurine some person had carved in their basement out of a tree or something, or a human skull or something like that. A bit of a tangent there. But yeah, basically yes, if I could I would, I just don't have the money. And also, if I could change anything in the Mass Effect universe story, what would I change? Rin Tin Tin. I don't know, there's a few things. I don't know, any gripe I really had with the story was more to do with aspects of the game that I felt they had rushed a little bit. There wasn't anything I particularly thought was lame or stupid. I don't know. I think if I could change anything, it wouldn't necessarily be to the universe or the story. I think I'd more change how it worked out in the games. Like, for example, Mass Effect 2, I hated how you couldn't... Well, you could get Legion early if you wanted to, but it was still way over halfway through the game until you could get him as a squad mate. And then even then, if you got him as soon as he became available, you only had a certain amount of time before you had to go off to the collector base. Otherwise all your crew would be dead. And that kind of bugged me. I wanted to get him earlier on and use him in missions like the rest of the characters, but as a result I only ever really get to use him in about 3 missions if you want to save everybody. And I always thought that was kind of lame. And he actually has dialogue through the whole game, so I mean if you have a PC and you are able to hack it, I think it's literally simple. It's just changing one line in the code and you can have Legion for the entire game. So I mean, all the dialogue was recorded and it's still there, so you can bring him on missions. But yeah, that was only one of my major gripes, the fact that you couldn't get Legion earlier. I thought he was such an interesting character, and they put him right at the very end where you don't really get to use him, and that was my only negative, really. At least I can think of the top of my head is they should have made you be able to use Legion sooner. And on the same vein of squad mates and stuff like that, I think in Mass Effect 3, I know why they did it. It was probably because of the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2. They felt that a lot of the squad would have died, so they couldn't necessarily put them as a squad mate in Mass Effect 3, other than Garrus and Tali, who I think they were expendable as squad mates. But if they made the whole squad made out of characters that could potentially die, it would have. I think there was too many variables, too many what ifs for them to actually make it so that there'd be a squad mate. But I would have liked to see some Mass Effect 2 squad mates as Mass Effect 3 squad mates. I mean, in particular, Grun. Other than the fact that I absolutely love Grun, he had no reason not to join Shepard's squad, especially after I ended up killing Arlac Company. I mean, other than that, he had no specific part in the war. The rest of them all had a reason not to join. Like, Jack was leading the group of biotic students, and there was loads of reasons why loads of the people couldn't join. But Grunt didn't really have one other than Arlac Company, and I got them killed, so... just so you know, I've just cut a little bit out then because I nearly dropped a massive spoiler for Mass Effect 3, and I realised that I haven't actually got to that part in the walkthrough yet. At least you guys haven't seen it, so I nearly just dropped a massive spoiler. So hopefully future Dave has edited that little bit out. But anyway, moving on before I do that again. Blast Eye Studios also asked, the reason I asked that question was as I would like to write a long ass fanfics starting from my Shep's origin to the end, but not 100% sure people will read it. Also, the thing you said about Kraven in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game, am I right in thinking Kraven helped Spider-Man in the 90s cartoons? P.S. had to rewatch the first Shepard's Punch. That first Shepard Punch is just amazing. I can't remember, it's been a long time since it's been a good couple of years since I watched the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. Yes, I rewatched it as an adult, it is that good. But it really is, the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. If you have not watched it, seriously, even as an adult, enjoyed the shit out of that. It was it was fantastic. That cartoon just set the bar for Spider-Man cartoons. But I think he did. I honestly can't remember. Maybe Google will be your friend in this case, because I can't remember off the top of my head. And when it comes to you writing or as you put it, a long-ass fanfic starting with your Shep's origins, I couldn't really say whether people would read it or not. I'm not sure where that sort of thing's posted. Can't remember. There's a site that my sister uses where she reads all the fan fiction sort of stuff. So when it comes to whether people will read it or not, I have absolutely no idea, because I don't even know where you post that sort of thing. But to be honest, just come up with a story that you like and post it, and then that way if people read it, it would be a sort of more what's the word I'm trying to think of? My brain's really dying because I've spent all day recording Batman, so it's kind of spent at the moment. But what's the word? It would be more rewarding. God, why couldn't I think of the word rewarding? It'd be more rewarding if people read and like a story that you've actually wanted to write, if you see what I mean, instead of just trying to fish for ideas. But yeah, I'm sure whatever you come up with is good. I mean, any variation on a Mass Effect story I normally tend to enjoy. So MasterKill492 said, "What's up, Cap? How's it going?" Yeah, it's not too shabby. How's it going with you? My questions for you this time are about villains. Alright, fair enough. Let's go through this one at a time. First, who are your top 5 favourite villains? No! Top 5, top 10 question. I'm so bad at them because when I'm put on the spot, I can never ever remember. Do you know what? You didn't specify whether it had to be superhero or anything like that, so I'm going to broaden my horizons and go way out into absolutely everything. In no particular order, I'm just going to list off 5. Hans Gruber from Die Hard. I think that's his name, is it? Unless I'm thinking of somebody else completely. Now let me Google this, make sure I'm remembering my Die Hard knowledge correctly. Hans Gruber, Die Hard. Yeah, Hans Gruber, the bad guy from Die Hard, played by Alan Rickman, who also did Professor Snape, for those of you who haven't seen Die Hard. Mr. McLean. Just a fantastic enemy. How can you not like that guy? He's, yep, top 5. Definitely loved him. Harbinger. he's so boastful. He's just, everything he says, assuming direct control. It's just, as enemies go, I just love the boastfulness of him. It's fantastic. Joker. I think he's an awesome villain. He's just got that crazy, just insane manicness about him, that it's not just crazy as in I want to kill people but then oh darn you beat me. He's like, he will kill himself if it means just causing mayhem, and I think that's just, there's nothing scarier than a villain that's not afraid to die, because then they will absolutely do anything. Most villains, they have a plan and they don't want to get beaten, but Joker, honestly, sometimes it seems like he doesn't care if he gets beaten, so that's an absolute terrifying villain in my mind. So yeah, I'm going to say Hans Gruber, Harbinger, Joker. Boom, I am forgetting someone. Someone who I've always loved as an enemy, and I can't believe I'm forgetting who they are. Ah! Brain, why are you failing me now? Magneto. Magneto's always been a bit of a badass villain, hasn't he? Kind of like along the same vein as Harbinger. He's just that boastfulness as he will not be beaten. Oh! Number 5, Megatron. Classic line from the first Transformers film. So it's just you and me, Megatron, and then Megatron turns around and goes, "No, Prime, it's only me." Just love it. I love the enemies that are just so full of themselves, man. They don't think they're gonna lose. So yeah, top 5 villains: Hans Gruber from Die Hard, Harbinger from Mass Effect 2. Forgot who I already said as number 3. Megatron, and damn, I forgot the other 2. Who I've already forgot. The other Joker. And I'm forgetting the 4th one I said already. Yeah, but rewind the video. You know who I said. That 4th one, whoever it was. Man, my mind really is spent right now. Second, villain dream team. Any number of villains will work, but at least 8. At least 8? Oh man. Okay, villain dream team. Well, the 5 I just said, and I'm not going to try and reel them off again because I've forgotten who some of them are already. Let's throw in Doc Ock in there, because why not? Carnage. What's we up to now? 7. Who else can I think of to throw in there? Galactus. Just because. Why not? 2 more. I'm even looking around right now, just trying to get inspiration from somewhere. I can't think. There you go. Oh, at least 8. Yeah, for some reason I was thinking at least 10. There you go. There's your 8 right there. Third, if you could turn any villain into a good guy, who would it be and why? Bad villains. I want to be good. I don't know. Megatron. Could you see Megatron working for the good guys, like sitting there? Like working in a New York style deli or something. Oh, why do people always harass me? I just want to be I just want to be an Autobot. Can't I just work in my job and people leave me alone? Oh man, I think I'm overtired by this point. But yeah, why not? Megatron. I can just imagine him just working in some like corner bistro or something. And finally, favourite villain in wrestling when you used to watch it. Ooh, favourite villain? Someone like, I don't know, it's going to be hard to narrow it down just to one villain. I'm trying to think further back, but in his prime, Triple H was always fantastic. He did such a good job of getting everyone to hate him. I suppose you've got to give props to Vince McMahon, because you actually hated him. Not just like, oh, I hate him as a character, but man, he's a good wrestler and he does a good job behind the mic and whatever, blah, blah, blah. He actually genuinely didn't like Vince McMahon. I think that's what made him good. Which the same could be said for Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman. You genuinely didn't like those guys. And there's a lot of people who actually, in real life, genuinely don't like Paul Heyman. I mean, he's that good of a villain. But yeah, you got to say like people like Vince McMahon, Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, they did such a good job of being hated. But then I think anyone who is good on the mic and can back it up with their wrestling skills. You've got too many people that can wrestle, but they're just terrible when it comes to getting on the mic. Like these big muscly men that for some reason the WWE is obsessed with hiring just these huge guys like the Great Khali who can't wrestle and can't even speak. It's just like there's that classic video where he's in over the top, like, I don't know, you can't really call it battle royal. It's just him versus Edge, and he throws Edge through the ropes and then climbs over the ropes to beat him up. And Michael Cole's laughing, thinking you've just eliminated yourself, and just like nobody's calling him on it. It's just people like that just absolutely suck. And I think to be a good villain, you need to have the in-ring skill, and you need to have the mic skill to make people hate you. People like Chris Jericho, people like Randy Orton, people like CM Punk, especially CM Punk. People like that, they did a good job, a hugely good job in making you hate them. It was just so good. And Triple H back in the day was brilliant at that as well. And I say back in the day because I haven't seen it recently, but from what I have seen, I don't know. But back in the day, Triple H was really awesome at making you hate him, especially like when him and DX and the corporate was it the corporate ministry or whatever it was were running the show. I mean, they did a fantastic job in actually making you hate them. There's a few other people I'm leaving off the list. I mean, The Rock, Stone Cold, they did a good job as heels. Like during the invasion, Stone Cold was a pretty good bad guy. Kurt Angle was pretty good, not in a villainous sort of way, but just in a way that he was so obnoxious. You just couldn't help but hate him. But there's loads of other people like that. But I mean, I think anyone who could wrestle worth a damn and actually had half a brain cell in front of the microphone instantly became a good villain. But you needed to have both. It's easier to be a good guy than it is to be a villain in my mind. So I always had more of a respect for the people who are bad. And that's why it always winds me up when they take people like Randy Orton and turn them into a good guy. It's like what made Stone Cold as big as he was because he just did what he wanted and he kicked ass and he broke the rules, and that was why people loved him. And when people started to love him, they let him carry on doing that stuff. So people continue to love him. But now, since he's gone PG, as soon as people start to like a bad guy, they turn him into a good guy. And that's essentially going to make them people not like him anymore because they liked him because he was a bad guy. Like John Cena, when he first started and he was rapping on the way down to the ring and he'd punch people with his big ridiculous chain he had around his neck. He was cool back then. He was a douchebag, but he was a cool villain. And that's why people liked him, because he would like do those raps, like freestyle raps in front of people and completely slew them to the floor, just completely off the cuff. And that was why people liked him. And then they turned him into the big throwing up the okay, I'm the all-American American, and now everyone hates him because it sucks. It's not why people liked him. And I was worried they were going to do that when they turned Randy Orton good as well, but luckily he still stayed, from what I've seen, a bit of a bad guy. But anywho, kind of went off on a bit of a wrestling rant then. I haven't really spoke about wrestling in a very long time. Master Kill 492 also asked, one other question, and please take no offence to this, but what the hell does Bob's your uncle mean? I hear English people say it all the time. It's kind of hard to describe. It's like when you're trying to describe how to make something. Say like you screw in a light bulb, flip the switch, and Bob's your uncle, the light's on. It's just like saying like, and there you have it, and there you go. I don't know why you say Bob's your uncle. It's one of those things you just grow up, you hear other people say it, you start saying it yourself. No idea where it actually originated from. It's probably some Cockney slang thing that started it. I don't know. It's probably some actually interesting story to how it came about, but yeah, it's basically like, and there you have it, and there you go. That's kind of what it means. The Dark Man 1 Fest said, "Hey Dave, I have just recently started college and I'm also working part-time, and I'm just curious as to how you manage to keep your head and not get overwhelmed / if you did that. To be honest with you, I don't really know what I can say that can actually, any advice that I can give you. It's just I just do, I guess. The best advice I could give, and I've given a few people this like in real life recently, is just to not let it build up. And I don't just mean like in like the amount of work you're getting. So like obviously, I mean that's good advice too. Don't let the amount of work you're getting build up. So it's like the day before a deadline, you got 3 assignments due. I mean, don't do that either. That's not a good thing. But I mean, if you've had a bad day at work and then you've got college work when you get home, or you've had a bad day at college and then you've got work when you get home, if you've had a bad day, don't get home and be thinking, oh, I've had a bad day. Just get home and think, well, that's done now. You know, there's nothing I can do to change that bad day. I might as well enjoy the rest of my evening. Just let it go. Just, I don't know, watch a bit of TV for half hour, or punch a punching bag or do something just to vent your stress out. I normally sit down and just watch a few videos or edit or do something just to chill myself out for a bit, but just literally do it Lion King style, Hakuna Matata. I mean, once something's done, it's done. You can't change it, so you might as well just forget about it. So unless it's something that's important, but yeah, I guess that's the only advice I can really give. That's the only way I manage with YouTube, uni work, and work, and then real life issues and all that other stuff that gets in the way. Just think, well, just one thing at a time. I mean, worst comes to the worst, the absolute worst scenario. Say you foul all your stuff, you get fired. I mean, is someone going to come around and shoot you in the head? No, they're not. So, I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? That's the way I look at it. Just think if it's done, it's done. There's no use worrying about something that's gone and you can't change. So, anyway, moving on before I sit down and start meditating and giving out life lessons. I Am Patriot 59 said, "Hey Dave, just wondering if you're ever going to make any more GTA Survival Challenge videos. Those were hilarious." Oh yeah, back when I actually did those, I intended it on being a very long running thing. But then my first session, which are the only ones that are actually online, I hadn't plugged in my microphone properly, and it had this really horrible echoey feel to it because it was recording through, back then I used to record through my laptop. I mean, that's how long ago that was. It was back before I had a PC. So yeah, and I always intended on doing more. I don't know why. I just never got round to doing more. I guess I found some. I think that must be around about the time I started my Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 walkthrough, and then that, of course, spurred on all my what am I calling them? Superhero style walkthroughs. So, I mean, I think that's around about the same time Fallout New Vegas stopped as well. So, I don't know. I intended on carrying it on, but I mean, that was right back at the start of my channel. So that was back when I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do and where I was going. And unfortunately, it was just when I started that I figured out that that was not what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed them. I myself, other than the little intro I made up, wasn't too happy with the content I'd pulled out for that. I think that's one of the reasons why I stopped. I thought it was going to be better than it actually was. But I mean, maybe with GTA 5, some online stuff, it could be a bit funnier. But I don't know. I just felt that it wasn't going to last that long. There was only so long that I could go up in a helicopter and crash before it stopped being funny. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. But I was just worried it was going to be a very short-lived series. So I just sort of left it where it was, really. JDude281 said, "Did you watch the Super Bowl?" No, I did not. Not at all. Not in the slightest. And I think the only thing I even heard about the Super Bowl was just about the trailers that were shown during it. But no, I don't watch any English sports, let alone any American sports. So I'm afraid I can't say that I did. Couldn't even have told you who was playing or where it was or what time it was on, or couldn't even tell you the day. No idea. So there's that. JDude281. Ooh. Next one, oh man, this one's a bit of a mouthful. "I recently found a video on YouTube where the guy in the video shows a comment he found on another site. In the comment it said that person went to a meeting for only the highest up fans of Mass Effect 4. In this he shows several items." Oh, actually, before I carry on reading this, I've read this exact same comment. Is where he goes into like a private meeting and the people from the Mass Effect, like BioWare, from the Mass Effect 4 team, ask those fans what they'd like to see in the new game. If any species were to go, which ones would they want to go? And yeah, as you've put here, they chose that the most fans would choose to get rid of the Quarians and the Krogan. Talion Rex, Talion Grunt, you'd get rid of them? Are you kidding me? My favourite too. God, blasphemous. But yeah, so it was just basically saying about what they're asking the fans what they liked and what they didn't like, so what would be the best things to put in Mass Effect 4, which I think is quite good. But I mean, if the select group they pick don't necessarily represent the whole, so I hope they don't take what they say like 100% to heart, because I mean, there's a lot of people out there that you just find on YouTube. Type in Tally Romance on YouTube and you find out there's someone's channel that's dedicated just to Tally. So get rid of the Quarians and wouldn't be the best idea in hell. Even in the Commander Shepard song they talk about Krogans, so you can't get rid of the Krogans either. But anyway, at the very end of the question you said, in the video there are 2 reasons the guy points out and proves that this comment could be legit. One is that everything in the video are not things that could give up the game is about, and 2, that later within the next week the video was gone, meaning he took down himself, forced to take it down. Yeah, that was actually the exact same like comment video thingy that I watched as well. So Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I read the exact same thing. Yeah, it sounds like it could be legit. I mean, the guy explains why it could be legit, and I mean, that does make sense, the fact it was removed very, very quickly. And a lot of these things that say what could be in ME4, they're like saying, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And I mean, at this point in the game, like game's development cycle, they wouldn't even have those details ironed out themselves. So it just would be sort of like, what sort of things would you like to see? I mean, so, I mean, there's a good chance that could be legit. But yeah, there's that. But and we still have a good couple of years until we're gonna have any idea of what it's gonna be. So, or at least be seeing what it's gonna be. So, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. The Captain Junior said, "Hey Dave, also all my subs are now your subs too, because in my description for my channel I say hello and check out my favourite YouTuber, the Captain of Dave." Oh, thank you very much, Captain Junior. I appreciate that a hell of a lot. And I want to ask you a few questions. Number one. What made you start doing game walkthroughs? It was kind of as I said, like in one of the other comments to I'm Patriot earlier. It was kind of just like an evolution thing. You can look at anybody's channel, and if you go back to one of their very first videos, unless they set up the channel for that exact reason, you see within like the first year or within like the first 50 something like that videos, you see like a progression going. I mean, when I started, I always hate to admit this, but when I first started, I made Call of Duty videos, and I mean, I look at the way Call of Duty is now, and I just absolutely am ashamed that that's where I came from. Just because it's just so, I don't know. Not everyone. There's obviously I don't want to start like a fan war here going on, but there's a lot of people out there. It's just the same thing over and over and over again, and it's so boring. But there are those who are obviously the ones who started it, and there are those who are genuinely talented and those who actually make interesting, funny stuff. But when I first started, I did that because that was the game that I was playing. Got nowhere fast and got very bored doing it very fast as well, because I was just beginning to lose my interest in it at the same time. And then back when, as I said, when I was talking to I'm Patriot, I started doing some other things, like I made my heavy rain walkthrough. I started doing the GTA survival challenge, where I just play GTA and just on purposely get the police on me and see how long I could survive. I did stuff like the Captain's Classics, where I would make like a funny little video out of something really random or weird that happened to me while playing the multiplayer of Call of Duty, which was cool. But again, I used copyrighted music, as I did with GTA Survival Challenge, so I kind of got the band hammer on doing that sort of stuff. But yeah, I was trying to find new and creative things to do, and at one point I got home from work, and I literally I did not intend to start doing a walkthrough, but I wanted to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 because I loved the game and I hadn't played it in a really long time. So I thought to myself, I'm going to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, but I kind of wanted to record something and just have a chat. So I started playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, and I even say it at the very start of the walkthrough that I just felt like talking my mind. I just really just wanted to play a game and just talk. I just fancied it for some reason. So I did that, and next thing I know, it was 3 hours later, and it was just like 11, 12 at night, and I thought, oh, crap, I'm being pretty loud, I better turn this off. And I didn't even want to, so I had to stop where I was, and I thought to myself, I actually really enjoyed doing that, just playing a game and talking, not trying to be really good, not trying to be entertaining, just doing it, if you see what I mean. I mean, obviously, now I put a bit of effort in to try and be entertaining, but back when I did that, I was just doing it because I felt like it, and I really, really enjoyed it. So from that point on, I decided to record the rest of the walkthrough, especially after I uploaded that first episode, and everyone seemed to get a huge kick out of it. So I recorded the rest of the walkthrough, and by the time I finished recording that game, I had this huge sense of achievement from it, and I really loved it. And I loved uploading all the episodes, giving them a title, making them like little episodes. And every time I do a walkthrough, I always feel like in myself like it's a season, like a TV season, like season 1, season 2. And that's why, especially with Mass Effect, I started putting them in episodes with titles. So it's like the Mass Effect trilogy, in a sense, in my mind, it's like 3 seasons of a Mass Effect program. I mean, that's how I see it in my mind anyway, but when I finished uploading that, I really enjoyed it and I loved it. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to do this again with another game. And that was when I believe that was roughly around about that time. Actually, yeah, I think that was when I must have started Fallout, I think. No, or did I start Fallout before? Ultimate Alliance. I don't know, but all I know is Ultimate Alliance 2 was when I decided to start recording superhero walkthroughs. And I mean, obviously, as you can see, I loved it and I didn't really look back. So I just looked through all the games that I had that were superhero related and thought, right, now I'm going to play this. And then I went out and bought a bunch of Spider-Man games and X-Men and Captain America and Wolverine. Oh, and I already had Wolverine. And all that sort of good stuff. And I mean, yeah, as they say, the magic was born. And that's just kind of where it went on from there, to be honest with you. I just never intended for it to happen. It just kind of did. And I mean, that's what I'm saying when I say that channels have a bit of a progression to them. You start off doing one thing, and then the next thing you know, you do one thing, absolutely love it, and your channel just takes a whole other direction. I mean, like, when most of you joined my channel, it was probably because of the superhero games I was playing. And then I fell in love with Mass Effect. And I mean, the last year, even though I have been sporadically uploading other games with it, it's been mainly Mass Effect for the last coming on a year now. And it's because I absolutely fell in love with that game. And my channel yet again took another turn from superhero stuff to Mass Effect. And you could still argue that I'm following a comic book route. Because with even with The Walking Dead, there's a comic book of that, obviously before even the TV program. Mass Effect, there's comic books of that, so I'm still following the comic book trend, if I'm being honest. But yeah, so it's just like eventually channels sort of evolve into what the person actually is. Yeah, so that's the very, 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 very long answer of what made me start doing game walkthroughs. Hey, you put a lot of question marks at the end of it, so I gave you a lot of answers. Number 2, the Captain Jr. also asked, do you remember Big Black from Skate 2? Yes, I do remember Big Black from Skate 2. Shout out to Tommy and everyone else at Geekspace. Big Black, yeah. For any of you who don't know what he's talking about when he says Big Black, if you go over to Geekspace's channel, I can't remember if it was part of the Alpha Geek thing or if it was just something separate, but there's a point where we play Skate 2. And I can't remember if I was Big Black or if someone else was Big Black. But basically, that Big Black guy just bounced all over that map. And I'm pretty certain it was Big Black who glitched out as well and went flying through the wall. But either way, hilarity did ensue as well. It was very funny. But yes, I do remember Big Black. And 3, will you do any walkthroughs of any of the Crash Bandicoot games? That would be something I would love to. It's one of those things I say I would love to do it, but in reality, it probably would get old very quickly because I love those games with nostalgia. And I think if I actually started recording a walkthrough of it, I'd probably get pretty bored pretty quickly because it is. Unfortunately, Crash Bandicoot is kind of a bit repetitive. You're doing the same thing over and over again. It's still an awesome game, but I can't see how I'd make it entertaining for an entire walkthrough. I'd try my best, but and the fact that I don't have any recording equipment for the PS1 or the PS2, so there is that. But the thought of doing a Crash Bandicoot walkthrough would be pretty sweet, especially seeing as how I did Ace Crash Bandicoot Warped. But anyway, moving on. Mr. Candyman13 said, so basically, gathered from the episodes so far in Mass Effect 3. Everyone who has worked for Cerberus is either hiding or in a refugee camp, or they are rogue like Miranda. You think that they would be better off without the Elusive Man looking over their shoulders. It seems like the only one that didn't change appearance or rank is, well, Shepard. Also, the Captain Jr. is a split image of you. Thank you for recommending him to me. Oh, well, there you go. You're more than welcome. I should actually, in fairness, I should actually go and check out your channel myself, the Captain Jr. I haven't actually got round to doing it, so I should. Seeing how you've given a shout out to my channel on yours, I should really go and check out yours myself. Especially seeing as how the Captain Jr. is apparently a split image of me as well. So you actually are like the Captain Jr. I should go and check you out. Not in that weird way that I just made it sound. Oh my god, that sounded a bit creepy the way I said that. But anyway, Mr. Candyman 13. He said that everyone would be better off without the Elusive Man. You'd think so, but then I suppose what you got to think about is now that they're not working for Cerberus, the Elusive Man is going to try and kill them because the Elusive Man isn't exactly one to share his toys, is he? So if they've left, they know a lot of secrets about Cerberus and about the Elusive Man. So he's going to try and make sure they're not going to fare too well from leaving Cerberus. So I'm not surprised that everyone who's left Cerberus is now having a hard time because Cerberus is going to make it his #1 goal to get him killed. Mr. Starhound said, no, Heroes for Hire isn't a cartoon. And Dave, what else after Lego Origins and Mass Effect 3 are you going to play? Other than Fallout New Vegas, don't forget. Yes, I know. Someone just today left me a comment on New Vegas asking me to play it again. Honestly, I'm actually on the verge to starting that again. I'm actually feeling like I want to start playing Fallout again. It's only taken like 2 years, but I'm eventually getting to the point where I want to play that game again. And I think it's because also I finished playing Mass Effect 3. I want to play another RPG kind of game. I know it's not necessarily an RPG in a sense, but I kind of feel like I want to finish Fallout New Vegas. I think maybe this week I'm going to sit down and I'm going to try and get that intro sorted. Because as I said, that was the one thing that stopped me from playing Fallout New Vegas. Is I need to replace that Pirates of the Caribbean music. But I don't know. I'm feeling in the mood. I actually might want to start playing New Vegas again. So all your pestering and all your bugging, you guys, it's finally paid off. I think I might actually start that series up again. Who knows? Who knows? Even if I do kind of speed run it a little bit, but yeah. But getting back to your original question, what else is after Marvel Superhero Legos Origins, and that was Batman Origins and Mass Effect 3. I have a few games I want to play. I haven't even started it yet. I haven't even played it myself. But if it's as good as everyone says it is, I've been meaning for a long time to play Beyond Two Souls. If that's as good as everyone says it is, then I can see myself doing a walkthrough of that. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the Heavy Rain walkthrough I did. I mean, obviously, if you guys haven't seen my Heavy Rain walkthrough, do bear in mind if you go back and watch it now, that was one of the very first walkthroughs I did. So the audio quality and I think the visual quality is a little bit worse. And also, I swear like a drunk sailor. Because it was back right at the start of my channel, and yeah, I used to swear quite a lot in my videos back then, but I've cleaned up my act now. What can I say? But yeah, I love doing the Heavy Rain walkthrough. I actually enjoyed recording that. So I mean, if Beyond Two Souls, everyone says it's a fantastic game, and if it turns out it actually is when I play it, then probably I'll do a walkthrough of that. As I said, I've still got X-Men Legends and X-Men Legends 2. It's just all about getting that Xbox so I can actually record it. But then, as I say, every time I go do that, it will be a long time in the future before I even get that sorted. Because as I say, I've still got a list of games I want to get played first. So, and who knows? Who knows? There might be other stuff. I haven't necessarily decided exactly what I play. I mean, I've been thinking about other games like maybe Dragon Age or something like that, possibly. But I mean, I'd have to get them first, and then I'd have to play through them as well. And they're long games, so I mean, that would be something probably for the future. But yeah. Other than that, Beyond Two Souls, Fallout New Vegas, possibly. Who knows? The world is my oyster. Jim Jenks said, "Thanks for answering my questions, Dave. Have you saw the newest Spider-Man 2, Enemies Unite, and Captain America trailers that were shown at the Super Bowl? If not, you should definitely check them out." I've seen the new Spider-Man trailer. Awesome. I've seen the Captain America trailer. Awesome. And I have no idea what Enemies Unite is. So, so no, I don't know. Oh, actually, oh no, Spider-Man 2 Enemies Unite. Oh, that is the Spider-Man trailer. Yes, I have seen that, and I've seen Captain America. So yes, I definitely enjoyed them. Yusuf Yasir said, "Hey Dave, my question for you is: are you going to play Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutant?" Oh, 2 Crash Bandicoot questions in one day. Would you look at that? Probably not, for the reasons that I gave before with Crash Bandicoot, and I've never even heard of this Mind Over Mutant one before. Yusuf Yasir also asked, "Dave, did you know there's a How to Train Your Dragon 2 movie?" Do you know what? I still haven't seen the first one. I've seen the very end of the first How to Train Your Dragon, but I haven't actually seen the whole film. But yeah, I know my girlfriend absolutely loves How to Train Your Dragon, so if there is a second one coming out, I can almost guarantee I'm going to get dragged to see it at the cinema. And that's not as a negative. I mean, I'm more than happy to go see it. VladX94 said, "Hey Dave, happy Chinese New Year." Oh, happy Chinese New Year to you too. See, that's a rare one. Nobody ever says that anymore. Now on to the questions. Number 1, will you do a simple top 10 like video of your favourite Pokemon? I won't do a simple top 10 video of my favourite Pokemon, but I can try and give you a quick rundown now. Again, this will be all totally off the top of my head, so I'm bound to forget Pokemon. Some that I absolutely love. But I'll go for a top 10 now. Squirtle, Always been a fan of Squirtle ever since the first one. Just love that little thing. A lot of these are going to be first gen Pokemon as well, because I mean, I started with first gen, so a lot of them are going to be my favourite. Squirtle, always love Squirtle. Coffin, always love Coffin ever since the very first Team Rocket lineup. Coffin, just he's always been a fan of mine. It's that happy little face. I've even used him in my main squad once in I think it was Heart Gold Soul Silver. I played that game like a second time, and I used Coffin in my team just because he's just so happy. I've never seen someone take a hit with just such a big grin on his face. So Squirtle, Coffin, love Muck. Don't know why. I just love Muck. He's just, I think I like anyone that's happy. I mean, like Coffin, Muck, they've always got a massive smile on their face, so I just like the happy Pokemon. Yeah, Squirtle, Coffin, Muck, Totodile. I always kind of like Totodile for the other water starter from Johto. It seems like they've all so far I've got an even split of water and poison Pokemon. So where am I up to? I'm up to 4 now. This thing. Who else? Who else am I a huge fan of? I always use. Oh, from the new generation, Pancham. I love Pancham. That little little koala thing with a leaf hanging out its mouth. Loved it. Absolutely loved that. Spent many an hour trying to use the Poké Radar to get a shiny Pancham, and then when I eventually nearly smashed my DS against the wall, I searched to see what the thing actually looked like, and the shiny version of it's disgusting, so I'm glad I stopped when I did. But yeah, Pancham's pretty awesome. I kind of like him from the new gen. I'm trying to think of some. Oh, the starter, is it from the Sinnoh or the Hoenn region? I don't know who it is, but the fully evolved version of Turtwig. Or Turtwig, or however you say it. The thing that looks like a dinosaur with a tree on its back. I like that one. He's pretty cool. Where am I up to now? I'm 5, 6, something like that, aren't I? Who else? I'm forgetting a whole bunch of Pokemon that I love. See, that's the thing. When I get asked these questions, all I'm doing is I'm looking at my monitor, and it's hard to remember who I actually. It's like because you've got no visual aids to sort of like spur you on. Let's type it in on the old Google and see what I get. Here we go. That's bound to help. For some reason, don't ask me why, I always, in like the first couple of gen, I always had Butterfree in my team. I don't know why. Something about Butterfree, I just liked it for some reason. It was weak as, but I just liked it. Oh, here we go. There's a huge list of them here. That's a blurry list of them right there, so that's not going to help me at all. That also isn't going to help me. Oh god, they're so small. They're nearly all first gen. I mean, Pikachu's obviously awesome. Poliwhirl, I don't know why I've always loved Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl's been pretty awesome. It looks like I'm quite a huge fan of the water types, but I don't know. It's mostly first gen. I think it's just because I grew up watching them, and I remember how excited I was when I went and saw the first Pokemon movie at the cinema, and I got my was it the Mew trading card you got when you saw it at the cinema? The shiny Mew. I'm pretty certain it was, but yeah. So pretty much most first gen sort of stuff I'm pretty much a huge fan of. But yeah, there's too many to actually make a top 10 list. But I know I haven't even got to 10 yet, but Vileplume, Oddish, I like them. Gloom sucks though, but Oddish was always cool. You know, Ghastly, Gengar, all them lot. I mean, there's just too many to pick from first gen. But incidentally, since how I am actually talking about Pokemon, before I move on to your next question, I'm trying to build my shiny team at the moment, and the Masuda method is just doing my head in. I was trying to get a shiny Charmander, and I think I'm nearly up to 2,000 eggs at the moment, and I still haven't got it, and I'm actually ready to destroy that little Charmander. I think I'm actually going to get a shiny Charmander and not want the thing anymore. Because I've seen too many hatch from an egg now, and I'm ready to blow my brains out. But I've got a shiny Dratini at the moment, a nice pink Dratini. The only ever shiny I've actually met in the wild without doing any sort of method. I got myself a yellow Pidgey back in Soul Silver. Just randomly encountered it in the grass. Wasn't using the Poké Radar, wasn't doing any methods or anything. It was the only time I've ever, out of every single Pokemon game I've ever played, ever since Pokemon Blue, I finally just had that was my only ever random encounter with a shiny. I couldn't believe it. It shows you how rare it is. Out of all those games, I think like 120 hours put into each of them. A couple of times I replayed them several times. That was the first shiny I ever met, with a yellow Pidgey. Got the standard red Gyarados you meet at the Lake of Rage. I mean, everyone gets that, obviously. The pink Dratini that I mentioned, that was because in Black and White 2, at the end of that, it's massive in the White Forest or the Black City, depending on which game you have. You beat it right to the very end of this battle tower sort of thing, and you get yourself the shiny Dratini. And got myself a shiny Clauncher, is it? Doing the fishing method. So my team is nearly there. I just need this damn shiny Charmander, and then I just need one more spot to fill out my shiny team, and I'm good to go with my shiny 6. But it's just Charmander. I'm not going to want it by the end. Anyway, kind of went off topic a little bit there. Number 2, VladX94 also asked for his second question. Will you do a walkthrough of any Final Fantasy game? No, I won't. I have never played a Final Fantasy game. I started watching someone play it once before, but I got pretty bored. They're probably good games, but I don't like those kind of over-the-top sort of games. You know, just where it's massive flying jump kicks in the air and stuff like that. And yes, I know I play stuff like Batman and Spider-Man, but it's not that... I don't know, it's just I've never been a fan of anime stuff like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and all that sort of stuff. I've never been a fan of that either, and Final Fantasy just is kind of like a game version of that. At least in my mind. I mean, for those of you who actually like it, you're probably like, no, it's nothing the same, it's not. From what I can see, it just reminds me of that, and I'm just not a fan of it, to be honest. Number 3, he said, even though you will not play Smash Bros, what Pokemon do you want in it? By the way, Lucario comes back in it. Pikachu's already in it, isn't he? I'm pretty certain I remember seeing Pikachu already in Smash Bros when I watched someone play it once before. But yeah, anyone who's from my list that I mentioned, coughing. Oh, when I was listing my top 10, how did I forget? Geodude and Golem. Friggin' love Geodude. He was one of my favourites. He was like one of my favourites from the very start, Geodude. I love that little rock. In fact, when I transferred my Golem, who I did the Pokemon League in one of my games with, every time I get a Geodude, I always call him Gonads. I just always have done. It's just like I always call my Squirtle Dude, because obviously I was a lot younger when I first caught my very first Squirtle, so I called it Dude. So even to this day, I still call him Dude, just because... that's just what I do. It's nostalgia. Well, they've got this thing that if your Pokemon's named an offensive name, they revert it back to its original name. I transferred my level like 80 something Golem forwards, get him on the other side, and he's called Golem again. They got rid of the Gonads name. I was so angry. They've just castrated Gonads. So angry. Yeah. So for that one reason, they should have Geodude in Smash Bros. I mean, come on, a little rock with fists. It's got Smash Bros written all over it. And number 4, will you play Deus Ex Human Revolution, or Deus Ex, or Deus Ex, or Deus Equis, or whatever the hell you're supposed to say that. But probably won't play that either. I watched some gameplay of that game and got bored out of my skull watching that. So if I got bored watching it, God knows how bored I'd get playing it. And at last request, please shout out Yo Video Games. Yeah, I don't see why not. Yo, video games! I assumed you wanted it said like that. If not, that's how I'm shouting it. Yusuf Yasir said, hey Dave, is your PS3 ID Captain Dave or Capt_Dave? Because I added the second one. Mine is IB Encia. I'll play Batman multiplayer. Also, I'm not sure if I've asked this before, but are you going to play Splinter Cell Backlist? I won't be playing Splinter Cell. Never played any Splinter Cells, and I don't really have any plans to. And also, my PS3 ID is the second one, CPT_Dave. But in all honesty, I haven't used my PlayStation in a very, very long time. I mean, probably the last time I saw my use my PlayStation for a game was the last time you saw me upload a walkthrough on my PlayStation. So that's how long it's been since I've used it. And I have Batman on Xbox as well. So even if I was on there to accept the friend request, I wouldn't be able to play because I have Batman on Xbox. So sorry about that, mate. But really, from this point on, I'm not really accepting friend requests anyway, just because it was clogging up my console like an insane amount. It was just getting out of control. So I just don't accept any, because in that way I don't pick and choose between you guys. If I just don't accept any, then nobody's getting favorited, if you see what I mean. So AJ Singh said, "Hey Dave, if you have to change Batman Arkham City, how would you change it? And what about if you have to make a different Batman Arkham game? What would you call it, and what would the story be about?" If I had to change Arkham City, I felt there was too much going on at the same time. I think they did it with good intentions. Like they made it want to be like really hectic, and there's a lot going on. Like, can Batman cope? And I mean, I understand where they wanted to go with it, but I felt like it made it almost out of control. There was just so much going on. There was no way you could make the storyline focus a little bit. It's just there was so much going on. You could do anything in any order. It was just like something absolutely critical was about to happen, and then you'd be going off doing something else, and it just seemed a little bit odd. I think they should have made it. There should have been a bit more focus to it, in my mind. Just like maybe a bit more of just you are heading in this direction. They made it open world, but they made, I think, the choices too open world. And I think they brought that back in again when it came to Origins. Even though there's many things you can do in Origins, I just felt it was a bit more controlled. I don't know how they did it, but it just felt like that to me when I played it. And if you could make a different Arkham game, what would you call it, and what would the story be? This isn't my idea. This is actually something one of you guys have mentioned in the past. But he said, I said, like, I don't see how they could make another Arkham game. I don't know where they could take it now. I mean, I think that's why they made Origins, was because they had no idea where to go. But then, as someone mentioned, one thing could be that maybe Joker didn't die, and the body that you carried out was actually Clayface again, impersonating Joker. So that's one good thing. So the next one could be another Arkham one. There was the argument the next Arkham one could be Harley Quinn, but then they already released the Harley Quinn's Revenge DLC, so I mean that one's kind of out the window. But I mean they could always just do it not with Joker, they could just do it with somebody else. They could, I mean Bane keeps popping his head up and reappearing, so they could always do it about Bane again. But I don't know, they could always make a Batman and Robin one. That would be awesome, a co-op multiplayer, co-op single player. There are not enough games that do that. There really isn't, and it doesn't have to be too hard. They could do it the same way Saints Row did it, where you're both running along together, but in the cutscenes there's only one of you. So like, as long as the story's concerned, there's only one of you there, but when the gameplay's involved, there are two of you, if you see what I mean. I mean, people really don't care that much that in the gameplay there's two of you, but in the cutscenes there's only one. I mean, if they were to release a Mass Effect trilogy, but they made the single player co-op, like, and you'd just be one of the squad mates, or like the other player would be one of the squad mates, or maybe both the players were the squad mates, or something like that. But then in the cutscenes, it was still Shepard. I mean, hell yeah, that would actually be a really good idea. That you can either play it single player and you're Shepard, or you play it co-op and you're the two squad mates, and Shepard is like the third character, if you see what I mean. So in the cutscenes, nothing would be different, but it'd still be co-op. Man, look at that! Boom! Mass Effect 4, I've just helped you out. You're welcome. Ha! That would be awesome. So if you play it single player, you play as Shepard. Obviously, Mass Effect 4, you'd be whatever character you are. But say like this was Mass Effect 3. If you play it single player, you're Commander Shepard. But if you're playing co-op, Commander Shepard would be the computer, like the AI, and you'd be you in Player 1 and Player 2 would be Garrus and Tally, or something like that. I mean, how awesome would that be? And that means on every mission, you could be a different character. That'd be cool. BioWare, you're welcome. I'll accept my check in the post whenever you like. Just saying. But yeah, I mean, something like that in an Arkham game, I think would be a good idea. I'm not sure how storyline, what they could do necessarily, but I mean, or what the title could be. But I think in a game in the future, I'd love to see more games with a co-op campaign. I think more games should do that. I mean, the World at War co-op campaign, me and my brother had hours of fun playing that. It was just so much fun, and I mean, I'm going to be playing Saints Row the 3rd soon with one of my mates, and I mean that I think is going to be a hell of a lot of fun as well, the co-op in that ridiculous storyline. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Anyway, Gareth Vicarian said, actually Dave, BioWare did say the ME4 would be set in the future, and they could do it all. They would have to do is make sure that a couple of thousand years in the future, and that way it wouldn't matter what ending of Mass Effect 3 you chose. No, that's incorrect. It would matter what ending you chose, because it doesn't matter even if it's a couple of thousand years in the future. Whatever you did would still affect you, because if every single human, I don't want to give away for those who haven't seen well, sorry. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen the end of Mass Effect 3, then close your ears for a little bit. But I'll like say like the end, there's a few choices. Actually, no, I'll try and say it without ruining the ending. But there's a few choices. For those of you who do know, I'll just say like the colours. Like the green ending, it changes the base DNA of every single species in the galaxy. So a couple of 100,000 years in the future, that's still going to be there. You can't undo that. I mean, even if you did undo that, it would have to be written into the storyline that it was undone. If you see what I mean. I mean, actually, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Actually, they could do it, but they would have to put somewhere in there. They would still have to say whatever happened in Mass Effect 3 has still been erased, because the story would still have to come from the same point. So you choose to say the green ended, and they'd have to say, oh yeah, but now we've got rid of that, and now we're back to normal. Or you choose the red ending, and you say, yeah, but we rebuilt all this. And it's just like, either way, they would have to do the one thing that everybody hates, and that's the big decision you made in Mass Effect 3. They'd have to say that it didn't matter, because it was changed anyway before Mass Effect 4 started. So, I don't know, I'm kind of worried how they're going to do that, if they do put it in the future. Then it's going to have to be, well, have you just completely just got rid of the choices we've made? Because then whatever happens, they've just said, oh yeah, but now it's fixed and it's gone back to how it was. Or, it's, I don't know, kind of skeptical how it would work. Gareth Garen also said, I have a question. I know what superpowers you would choose if you made your own superhero, but what would you call him? And I also want your opinion. I made a superhero who is super fast, like Flash, can create and control water and ice, depending on how cold it is, wherever he is when he uses it, can create and control lightning, and is well trained in using a sword. I'm stuck between two things to call him. It would either be Quick Sword or Quick Freeze. Which should I name him? Quick Sword I think is quite good, but I'd go Quick Freeze just because Quick Freeze is a thing anyway. Like when something quick freezes, I mean it's already a thing, and so like, and he would be able to freeze things really quickly. I think Quick Freeze is more of a play on words than Quick Sword, although Quick Sword kind of sounds better. I don't know. Quick Freeze I think fits better, but Quick Sword sounds better. So I don't know. I'm kind of stuck between the two. I'm going to say Quick Freeze, just because I like the ice ability more. So I'm going to say Quick Freeze. And I don't know what I'd call my superhero. I honestly don't. I'm terrible at picking names. I have for my coursework, I had to like come up with my own game and do all the concept art for it and create the 3D models and all that sort of stuff for uni. And I handed it all in, and I still don't even have a title for that there. Yeah, and that's actually my coursework, and I still haven't even come up with a title for that game yet. So, I couldn't think what I'd call my character, because I'm just terrible at coming up with names. Seth Hampton said, are you excited about Amazing Spider-Man 2 game and movie and Captain America Winter Soldier and X-Men Days of Future Past? Yes, 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 and yes, everything you put in that list I am hugely excited for. They are pretty much every single game and movie I'm looking forward to next year. Actually, yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. To be honest with you, yeah. So I'm very much looking forward to everything you just mentioned. Is that Charlotte Im or Charlotte I'm? One of the two. Charlotte said, hi Dave, I'm just very curious about what would happen if you chose to save Ashley back on Vermeer in Mass Effect. Say, would she act like Kaidan back on Horizon, or would something different happen? Also, apparently the majority of players chose to save Ashley, but then you chose to save Kaidan for his abilities, which I also think is a great choice. So why do you think that Ashley gets saved so often? I mean, they couldn't have given up on Kaidan because they find him boring. Well, I'm going to go through and answer these one at a time. With regards to does Kaidan act the same on Horizon? Would Ashley act the same on Horizon as Kaidan did? Yes. In Mass Effect 2, it doesn't matter who you pick; they still act in the same way. Like, they respect Shepard, but they don't agree with him working with Cerberus. They both react in the exact same way. The only thing that makes that scene slightly different is if you romance Kaidan on Ashley back in Mass Effect 1. Then that way it makes the dialogue slightly different. Like they were in love with that person, then they died, and then they've just realised they're back and working for the so-called enemy. So the dialogue's a bit different, but the end choice is always the same, that they don't want to go with Shepard because they don't trust Cerberus. So in Mass Effect 2, it doesn't matter who you pick, that's kind of the same. Oh, pardon me, sorry. But, yeah, with regards to the majority of people choosing Ashley, I think that's because a lot of people who play the game play as Malshep, so naturally, thinking with men's other brain, they they choose Ashley mainly for the romance option. At least that's as far as I know. I chose to save Caden mainly for his biotic abilities and his tech abilities, but also because I found him an interesting character. A lot of people just say they find him boring, and I mean, I do understand that, because he's, especially in Mass Effect 3, you'll see later on in the walkthrough, Caden does go quite emo. He's just constantly just, not whinging, but he's just always overthinking everything, and after a while you're a bit like, okay Caden, you just snap out of it. We've got bigger issues than your inner turmoil going on right now. But I think a lot of people choose Ashley just because they're Malshep and they want that the female romance going on with Ashley. But I don't know. I think in the same vein, a lot of people save Caden if they're Femshep, then they save Caden for the same reason. But I just thought it would be interesting for Malshep to save Caden for once, and I'd be equally interested to see female Shep save Ashley, to be honest. But yeah, I think. When it comes down to it, I think more people just save Ashley just for the romance option as opposed to her being a character. Because I've heard a lot of people say that in Mass Effect 3 they find Ashley insanely annoying, just her as a character. And I think obviously because in Mass Effect 2 they've decided to romance someone else and they've kind of gotten over Ashley, so they suddenly find her really annoying. So I'm still glad I've saved Caden, but at one point I'm going to replay it again and save Ashley instead. But Mission Unstoppable 1 said, okay, I don't know why YouTube asked me to sign in again to post this comment when I was already signed in. Dude, I get the same thing. When I'm replying to some of your comments, it asks me to sign in even though I'm on my own video, which I only accessed because I'm signed in. Yeah, I don't know, it baffles me. YouTube's just going downhill. The more they're trying to sync things up with Google+, the more things are getting messed up. I don't know why they can't just leave well enough alone with it. But anyway, hey Dave. Hey Mission Unstoppable. My question for today is, if you could be a voice actor for anyone in Mass Effect 3 universe aside from the main characters, who would you choose and why? E.g. Kirahi, the biotic god Volus, etc. Ah, right. Oh, interesting question. Let me think. I'm trying to expand my mind out to some of the odd characters around the side. Donovan Hock. In Kasumi's loyalty mission. Not only I'd do it just for the sole purpose of giving that a better voice. I mean, any voice would be better than Kasumi. Could that sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger? The voice of Donovan Hock in Kasumi's loyalty mission is just appalling. It is abysmal. It's just so stupid. I can't work out what accent they were trying to go for when they did that. It sounds like Ken Donnelly from like the engineering quarters on the Normandy, but him putting on a terrible accent. It just it sounds so bad. So yeah, I choose Donovan Hock just for the sheer purposes of making that mission sound better on the ears. Just that's my thoughts on it. But yeah, the biotic god Volus, that'd be awesome. I am the biotic god. That'd be cool. Or any of the Vorcha. Vorchas would be pretty cool. They're always just a fun character to try and play out, I can imagine. I always kind of wanted, just at least for one mission, to have a Vorcha squad mate. I just thought it would be fantastic. Save Shepard! Oh, it's just basically Vorchas are like an uglier version of Gollum, aren't they? But yeah, Donovan Hock, just to make the game sound better. Because why not? I was trying to think who else. Yeah, oh man, I'd love to be Harbinger. That would be awesome to be Harbinger. I mean, I know he's one of the main characters, really, but he doesn't speak that much throughout the game, so I'd say you can take him. Why not? Yeah, Donovan Hock, but he's my main choice, I think. Just God, it's made that game sound so much better. God, he was a horrible character. Peter Moore said, "Sup, Dave? What game do you recommend for me? I'm a big fan of anything Marvel and stuff like Halo. Also just wondering, how old are you?" I am 25 years old. Or if you want to do it in kid years, I'm 25 and a half. Yeah, 25 years old. August, baby. 1988. Yeah, I'm a 90s kid. That's That's why I love Pokemon and all that sort of good stuff. Grew up with that bad boy. But, and obviously the 90s X-Men, 90s Spider-Man, all that sort of stuff. My childhood in a nutshell. But if I had to recommend anything for you, what games? Obviously Mass Effect. I mean, if you can't be on my channel for any length of time without realising I'm a huge fan of that game. I think the thing's an absolute masterpiece. Any other games like that? What shall I say? Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 or 2. I found they were both enjoyable games. Nothing outstanding, but they're enjoyable games. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions or Edge of Time. I've always got a soft spot for Edge of Time. I just love Edge of Time. I think I like the whole time travel aspect. I've always loved that. And I love how you got the 2099 Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man conversing back and forth, joking back and forth, trying to not change the future. Like not trying to damage the past and change the future and all that sort of good stuff. I mean, I've always been a fan of that game. It's quite cool. Captain America was quite fun as well. That was just a nice, fun game. But I don't know. Other than Marvel-y sort of stuff, other than games like that, I'd recommend any of the Portal games. They are a huge amount of fun. The only reason I haven't done a walkthrough of them is because it would literally just be hours of watching me trying to figure stuff out. And I mean, that's pretty boring to watch. Trust me, I actually recorded an entire Portal 2 walkthrough once. Years and years ago, I recorded the whole thing and then just deleted it because it was just so boring. And I was the one who did it, and I was so bored. But no, as a game to play, it's so much fun. It was just a boring walkthrough. But yeah, Portal 1 or Portal 2, I'll definitely recommend playing them because they're fun games, definitely fun games. Heavy Rain was a beautiful game to play, and I love games that have different outcomes. And, you have that with Heavy Rain, you have I think it's 4 or 5 different outcomes. So it's a fun game. Characters can die throughout the game, which is pretty cool. Yeah, they were pretty cool games. Never have completed Red Dead Redemption, but people told me the end of that game was pretty fantastic. So, yeah, but yeah, they're a good bunch of games to get you started. And obviously then you've got like Arkham Asylum, Arkham Origins, any sort of Spider-Man game. Yeah, something along those lines. And, you know, just to make all you other guys happy, Fallout. Just to make you guys who are still waiting to see it finished. Yeah, Fallout New Vegas, why not? Peter Moore said also, if technology really did hate you, you wouldn't be able to upload these great walkthroughs. Well, yes, that is true. That is true. Maybe technology just likes to troll me. But in saying that, me uploading these walkthroughs has had difficulty in itself. I have to sit here and babysit YouTube when I'm uploading them. The amount of times it takes me on average about between 5 and 8 hours to upload each video, just because of how crappy my internet is. At least my upload speed is. My download speed's pretty decent, but my upload speed's quite terrible. And because of the size of each video, it's like a couple of gig each, it takes a lot of time to upload it, and it's so irritating when you've sat there for about 6 or 7 hours, but because you left your computer for like an hour and it went on standby or something silly like that, you come back and then it says finished uploading, and you click on the video and it goes, there was an error, and that's 8 hours down the drain. Wasted electricity, wasted time I could have been on my computer. All this sort of stuff. But yeah, the technology, it likes to troll me. I think that'd probably be a better way of describing it. Riker Jeffrey said, hey Dave, where's Batman Arkham Origins? Well, if you've seen the start of this video, then very, very soon. Hopefully within the space of a week. Michael Suve said, hi Dave, how are you? I'm fantastic, thanks for asking. How are you, Michael? I have a couple of questions this week. Number 1, have you seen the new Captain America Winter Soldier trailer? If so, what do you think? Yes, I've seen it, and yes, I think it looks fantastic. I think it's going to be much better than the first one. Not to say that the first one wasn't a good film. I don't know, I felt like it was more like a prelude to Avengers, the first Captain America film. But the Winter Soldier trailer, I think it looks like it's actually going to be a really good film. I think it's definitely going to restore some... It's going to bump Captain America up there with Thor and Iron Man. I think it was a bit lacking before, but I think now Winter Soldier is going to bump Captain America up there with the rest. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Number 2, what would you do if the next Mass Effect game had you play as Jacob in his days before meeting Shepard? Probably this would be the time where, you know, you guys ask me, you're like, oh, what would happen if you did this? What would happen if you do that? Because in my walkthrough, I try to do all the right things and I try to get the best outcome ever. Well, if that was the case and you were to play as Jacob before his days in Meat and Shepherd, then you would be asking me, Dave, what would happen if you did this right? Because I would literally be doing every single thing possible to screw with Jacob's life. He would be making mistakes left and right. His friends would be dying. He would be losing points. He would be Renegade Jacob. And he would get everyone in the universe to hate him. Because that is what Jacob does. The only time Jacob would be Paragon, and that is when he takes out Aaron Cash. That's the, that's the only time Jacob would ever do anything right. And that would be killing Aaron Cash. But, man, yeah, I'd be screwing up left and right. You know, if you type in on YouTube stuff like... Mass Effect 2 suicide mission, all squad dies and stuff like that. Like you get people who upload like to show you the worst possible outcome of parts of the game. Well, my whole walkthrough would be the worst possible outcome for Jacob, just because I mock him that much. I honestly don't like Jacob. I just like taking the piss, but I would still do that. Question number 3: who are your top 5 favourite Mass Effect squad mates? Mine are, not mine, obviously Michael's, are Garrus, Rex, Tally, Legion and Thane, with honourable mentions going to Morden, Jack and Grunt. That is quite a good top 5. My top 5 would be, and I'm trying to think this legitly because obviously Garrus is in my top 5, but I've used him so much with these walkthroughs and haven't played before. I'm getting a little bit tired of using him, so I'm kind of glad that I finished the walkthrough. But obviously Garrus would have to be in there just because he is awesome. As much as I love Tally, I'm not sure if she would actually make the top 5. Because as a squad mate, she is alright, but there's others that I prefer as actual squad mates. I'd say, like, if I had to pick and like you were only left with a certain few, I would say Garrus, Grunt, Jack. I want to say Legion just because I don't get to use him that much and I really want to. I'm actually watching a live stream, not this second, but at the moment, of someone who's hacked so they get Legion right at the start of the game. So it's pretty awesome. You get to see what it's like if you had Legion for every mission. So yeah, Garrus, Grunt, Jack. I'm going to say Legion for now, but I might remove him for someone else. Oh, actually, I don't know. I was thinking about putting Javik in that. Let's say Tally. Why not? So Garrus, Tally, Grunt, Jack. No, actually, no. Do you know what? Sorry, I'm going to keep changing this list up. It's going to be Garrus. It's going to be Grunt. It's going to be Jack. It's going to be Morden. And Legion. And it's going to have honourable mentions. Your honourable mentions are going to go to Tally. Are going to go to Thane. I am forgetting someone. Oh! Zaid, just because he's funny as all hell. I'm forgetting people. I'm honestly forgetting people. Rex. Yeah, honourable mentions to those last lot. Yeah, but yeah, my top 5 would have to be Garrus, Grunt, Jack, Morden and Legion, probably. Just because I'd want to use Legion a little bit more. And lastly, do I have any pets? What do you mean other than Chewie, the space hamster, and my fish? With them aside, in real life, yes, I have a cat called Beano. It's a white cat, short for albino. He's, without a doubt, a little shit. He's just so irritating. The amount of times there's a cutscene going on in one of the games when I'm recording, I have to open the door because it's a scratching. I swear it knows when I'm recording, and it scratches to wire me up. I mean, right now it's sound asleep because it knows it can bug me. But if I'm busy doing something like this morning, I was watching The Walking Dead. Oh my god, that cat would not stop running around and scratching the walls and attacking me. And oh, I swear to God, that thing is evil. But other than that, it can also be quite nice. But yeah, it was my girlfriend bought the cat before we moved in together, so you get the girlfriend, you get the cat too. But I don't mind her. As much as I say I hate the thing, I do love that cat. But no, throughout my life, I have like 3 brothers and sisters. Well, not 3 brothers and 3 sisters. I have 1 brother and 2 sisters. And so we always had a lot going on in our house, and as a result, we always had a lot of pets. I mean, since I was a kid to now, we've had one dog. Actually, no, we've got another. My parents have another dog now, so 2 dogs. Had, God, I don't know how many cats that I can remember. 4 cats, not including Beano. Fish, chickens, which we still have at the moment. Not me personally, my parents. Guinea pigs, rabbits, hamsters, gerbils, a bird. At one point, it flew into our window and we looked after it, and we looked after it for about 3 years until it eventually died. What else? Getting something else. Oh, tortoise, Genghis, which hands down has got to be my favourite pet ever, and he's actually going to outlive me and probably my children. We bought it some time ago, and it was 5 years old when we bought it, and most of the time tortoises tend to live to about 100, or at least they can live to 100. So there's a very good chance that it might actually outlive my children that I haven't even had yet. So Genghis, got to be like an awesome pet. But yeah, kind of went on a bit of probably too much information with the pets. But as of right now, me personally, now we just have the 1 cat, unless you're going to count Chewie the space hamster and the fish in Mass Effect. Mission Unstoppable 1, I actually replied to your message that I'm about to say. Like, I actually wrote a text reply, because I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. But if somebody else does, feel free to write it in the comments of this video, and possibly link me to the video and like the timestamp to which he's talking about, so I can actually answer it in next week's video. But Mission Unstoppable 1 asked, I was just watching your Amazing Spider-Man walkthrough the other day, and I noticed that you took a photo of a random petty crime civilian who looked shockingly similar to your photo on your Twitch account. My Twitch account? Do you mean my Twitter account? Because I don't think I have a picture on my Twitch account. And you also said that you were going to put it on your bedside table. Is that what I think it means, Dave? And I sent you a reply, and I said I honestly can't remember what you're talking about. It's been a long time since I recorded it. What episode and what time was it? Because I honestly, it's been so long since I recorded that walkthrough, I don't know what it is you're talking about. So if anyone else does know what he's talking about, or if Mission Unstoppable 1, like yourself, if you could write in the comments in the next video, like, say what video it was, like what episode it was, and at what time I did it, then I might be able to give you the answer to that question. And finally, Giovanni said, "Hey Dave, what is your all-time favourite video game video game and film music?" Obviously, on that list is Mass Effect. A lot of the soundtrack to Mass Effect 1, the Suicide Mission theme for Mass Effect 2, that is just fantastic. I listen to that like all the time. It's just such epic music. Mass Effect 3 soundtrack was also fantastic. Future for the Krogan was a beautiful piece of music. You got the title credits, and then Once and For All, that was beautiful. There's one bit called The End, which is used in the Citadel DLC. That's a lovely bit of music. Any of Shepard's themes, you know, do 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 do. I mean, that's beautiful bits of music. Pirates of the Caribbean theme, obviously, because I use that in my Fallout New Vegas. I mean, that's just gets your blood pumping every single time. I mean, how can you not get epic when you hear that? But other than that, I mean, music in game or films, it's normally just beautiful bits of scoring. Like, I think music is something that's really underrated, especially in films as well. Like if I don't know if you noticed, but anytime the Elusive Man crops up in Mass Effect 3, they have the Elusive Man theme that always comes back up. Like every time we spoke to him in Mass Effect 2, they'd have that weird sort of theme in the background that was just sort of like it would always be in the background, but it would be quite subtle, so you wouldn't notice it. Well, every time we speak to the Elusive Man in Mass Effect 3, that music comes back on again, and you don't necessarily notice it, but it makes you draw on that emotion that you felt when you used to talk to him in Mass Effect 2. And it without even realising what's happened, you get excited and you're pumped and you're like, oh, the Elusive Man, he's back, he's blah 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 blah. And you don't even realise it's because they've played that music and it's drawn on that emotion. And I think music does a great job of doing that. I mean, like in the first Amazing Spider-Man film, whenever Spider-Man or Peter Parker's looking at something about his past, it plays the music that played right at the very start when he was playing hide and seek with his dad, and it yet again draws on the emotion you felt when you first saw that. And it's something that I think is quite subtle that people don't realise is actually going on. So music in film and games, I think, is actually a very underrated thing and very much needed. But I mean, other than that, the theme for Skyrim, I thought was really good for their launch trailer. Do 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 ba 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 ba. I mean, that was epic. Even if you don't include that video of when that fat girl screamed when she saw the trailer, which unfortunately I always think of now when I hear that music. But I mean, that was awesome. The song that GLaDOS sings at the end of Portal and Portal 2, I think is absolutely fantastic. There's a bit of Red Dead Redemption where you're, I don't know, I haven't completed it, but when you're crossing between the two different countries or two different borders, and you're on this huge trek that takes forever, and then suddenly Jose Gonzalez, they start playing, I think that's who it is, they play one of his songs, something about a runaway train, and it's just epic. You're just travelling through this desert with this music playing, and it just sets the mood so well, and it's so unexpected for that game as well, because there's seemingly no music throughout the entire game, and then they play that bit, and it draws on emotion really well. But yeah, I mean, obviously then you got all the soundtracks in GTA, which are always just funny. But there's a bit in Saints Row the Third where it's "I need a hero" in the last mission while you're running along, which is, I think, is just so upkeeping with the rest of the game. It's hilarious. But yeah, I think music in game is something that is really underrated, and especially in films as well, and it's something that's definitely needed. Fallout New Vegas, actually, I found had quite a nice music, like the fact that they played old music and old-timey stuff after a nuclear holocaust, which was kind of weird, 'cause that's more like a future-y sort of thing. But then they always played old songs, because like they're the only things that work, so all the technology's gone, which is kind of cool, like the ink spots. I don't want to set the world on fire, and all that sort of stuff. I don't know why I used Mr. Bean's voice to say that, but yeah. And I mean, I could rabbit on about this for ages, because I honestly do love scoring in films and games and stuff like that. That's why I love the Mass Effect soundtrack so well. I mean, despite what you say about the third game, the soundtrack for it was just beautiful. It really was beautiful. But yeah. Anyway, with that little ramble going on about that sort of stuff, I feel that is the perfect place where to end that, mainly because I'm out of questions. So, less questions, but has gone on a lot longer than last week's video. So, with that being said, with that being done, I think it's time we wrap this one up here. So, as always, if you guys have any questions or comments that you want to ask me for next week, feel free to leave it in the video. In the video, you can try to leave it in the video. I don't know how you do that. Leave it in the comment section of this video. Anything you want to ask me. If you want to answer any of the questions that I've answered, feel free to leave that down in the comments below. I always love reading that, and obviously I'll read it out next week as well. And other than that, my name's been Captain Dave. It is still Captain Dave. I think I need to go to bed. I think that's what I'm gonna do. My name's Captain Dave. This has been the Captain's Quarters, and I'll catch you guys later.